So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back once again to the greatest watch market update show. Ladies and gentlemen, today, this is an unbelievable day. Today is no other than Thanksgiving Day, ladies and gentlemen. And I take out time out of my Thanksgiving festivities, from my family, my grandchildren, to come and attend you guys because you guys need to know what's happening around the world, ladies and gentlemen. And things are bad out there, ladies and gentlemen. Just to let you know, things are bad out there. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you for only one favor. And that favor is to give us a thumbs up, a big thumbs up to our channel. It's unbelievable. It would help out the algorithm, And ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to believe this, but our channel, again, is moving again. I don't know if it is because I've been saying that, we've got some thunder lightning in our TV tower antenna, that we're getting a lot of, people watching us now and subscribing to our channel. I don't know what it is. Sweet Kid Kino is my manager, and whatever my manager tells me to say, I say it because this is his channel. This is not my channel. And so things are, looking good again. People are subscribing to our channel again. They have opened the doors and they have stopped knocking the antenna, the TV antenna in our channel. So things are looking good. So please don't forget to give us a big thumbs up, And if you haven't subscribed, man, do it because everybody's subscribing. They try to block us for too long, and they just gave up. They know that they cannot block us no more, Alex. Alex, they cannot block us no more, and they have to start opening the door to us because, we don't use no foul language. We don't sell nothing to you guys. We don't want to buy nothing to you guys. Unbelievable, and we're here today on this beautiful Thanksgiving Day, giving you guys love for free. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm giving it to you for free. Look at the way I'm dressed up, because I got today family members, my grandchildren are here. Everybody's here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, for your own good. That situation is bad out there. There's no money out there. These flim-flammers don't know what to do. These flim-flammers, like, Deputy Boxing Black Eyes, he's already going to go to the show in Miami, and he's giving away free entrance tickets to go see him over there in the show because there's nobody buying watches, ladies and gentlemen. As I told you, nobody's buying watches out there, ladies and gentlemen. The situation is bad economically out there. Things are bad out there in the world. People are not making money any longer. People are losing their houses left and right. I know you have a hard time believing this, but with the Watch Market Update show I'm going to give you today, I'm going to prove it to you because I'm stupid like that, ladies and gentlemen, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, before we start into this show, again, I emphasize to please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, all right? A thumbs up. Don't forget that. It's for free only, Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about precious metal materials, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, let's just get right into it. Gold, real gold, 24 karat gold, 22 karat gold, ladies and gentlemen, is at $4,189 a troy ounce. Unbelievable but true, but it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is in this Thanksgiving Day, Thursday. It's unbelievable. I don't even know what today's date it is. I don't even know no more. But ladies and gentlemen, it's at $4,189. Ladies and gentlemen, silver, you're not going to believe this. It's going to knock your socks off and blow your hair back. Silver is at $53.16. Unbelievable but true. And ladies and gentlemen, platinum. Platinum is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Platinum is unbelievable. Is at $1,627 a troy ounce, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, palladium. Palladium is at $1,474. Ladies and gentlemen, gold is King Kong. Gold is going all the way to the moon, all the way to the moon. Gold is going all the way to the moon, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to believe this, ladies and gentlemen. I feel very important today, ladies and gentlemen, the way I'm dressed up, This is all for you guys. It's all for you guys. I'm dressed up this way, ladies and gentlemen. But ladies and gentlemen, I got some news to tell you from some big shots. They have been talking to Sweet Kid Kino. Kino's not here today with me because Kino's with his family in another turkey party, He's in another turkey party doing his thing with his, with that freeloader he has, She's a gold digger. She's taking all his money and she's destroying him. But, Kino has told me that people are saying that gold will be going all the way up. You're not going to believe this. That gold is going to be going all the way up to $10,000 a troy ounce. I'm just letting you know. I didn't say that. Kino said it. I'm only repeating what Kino writes for me. He's unbelievable, this sweet kid Kino. I'm letting you know what's going on. You know what's going on, Kino. Yeah, you know how it is, Alex. Kino is a man from the underworld, and he knows a lot of, bad people, I got to be honest. And I'm saying all this because he's not here today. So I can say Kino runs with a very, very rough crowd. People that they're from the underground, Unbelievable but true, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, rhodium. Rhodium is what they put on these rings, that shine, rhodium. Unbelievable that sweet kid, running with the people from the underworld. I tell you people always this, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to soar with the eagles, or you want to crawl with the rats? You understand me? You want to soar with the eagles, or you want to crawl with the rats? You want to soar with the eagles. Unbelievable, those eagles. You know what I'm trying to say. You cannot crawl with the rats. It's not a good thing, right? You cannot crawl with the rats. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something, how things are for real, how bad they are. You know that guy, what I call, Fink Larry? Fink Larry. You don't know who Fink Larry is? That guy, Fink Larry, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to believe what those people from Fink Larry, Black Rock, Black Rock, ladies and gentlemen. When I tell you this, you're going to feel offended today. And you're going to see what you guys are obedient window lickers, ready to go into the slaughterhouse. When I tell you this, you're going to get very, very upset, ladies and gentlemen. But ladies and gentlemen, Black Rock just finished buying 50,000 homes. 50,000 homes, 50,000 homes. And they bought it at $300 each house. $300,000 each house. I'm telling you, Black Rock, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't understand this, look at it real well. Look at it real well. Black Rock and that guy, Fink Larry, they're this. That's who they are. You understand me? That's who they are. Watch it go down. Look at it carefully. And it goes back up again. You understand? Those people are demons. Those people are demons, ladies and gentlemen. Those people are demons. You don't understand what I'm trying to tell you. These people bought the houses for $300,000 and they bought 50,000 homes. 50,000 homes, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, after they bought those 50,000 homes, they sold 3 houses to themselves. You're not going to believe this, ladies and gentlemen. They sold 3 houses to themselves for $700,000. You understand? They bought it for $300,000 and they sold it to themselves for $700,000. Porque ustedes son unos lambones, unos palomos. You understand? You guys are lambones and palomos. Why I do all this work for you guys for free, you know what I get? You know what kind of perk I get? I get this perk deep. I get this perk real deep. While you guys are eating chicken turkey legs, I'm doing this for you guys so they don't take you no more, ladies and gentlemen. 50,000 homes. There's no such thing as homes costing $300,000. And those demonic people, that they belong to the Bohemian Grove, saluting the owl, saluting the owl, are selling houses to themselves for $700,000 each, ladies and gentlemen. This is unbelievable. In neighborhoods, listen to this, in neighborhoods that they were not the best neighborhoods in the world. You know what I'm trying to say, Doc Maker, Florida? You know, but you go over there to the West Coast. You go over there to the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? You go to Cape Coral, Lee County, those places over there, Marco Island. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. They bought those houses for $300,000. And ladies and gentlemen, the crazy thing is that, the rental on those houses is unbelievable. The value has doubled overnight. The value has doubled overnight, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm trying to say? The value has doubled overnight. They bought them for $300,000, and a week later they doubled up to $600,000. Porque somos lambones y palomos, ladies and gentlemen. That's why, you know? You don't know what I'm trying to say. Yes, we are live. Yes, we are live. We are live, and we're mad about it because we're live today on this Thanksgiving Day. You know, it's unbelievable what I'm doing for you people for free, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the only perk I get from you guys. That perk I get from you. Ladies and gentlemen, the channel's blowing up again. They're opening the doors again on this channel. This is the #1 watch market update show in the world, ladies and gentlemen. And chosen by no other than, you know, Sax Goldman. You know, Sax Goldman and the other one, Fudinki. We've been chosen. They have to already open the door. They have to let us back in, ladies and gentlemen. We have been in lockdown like in the Corona beer era. But we're back. We're back to smoke them, you know, like the peace pipe. Unbelievable. Let me get a little bit of this thing over here, you know. Unbelievable. I don't even have water. You know it's going to go that way, Alex. They can't. They can't stop us no more. They can't. This is the only channel, ladies and gentlemen, doing it for free, ladies and gentlemen. Por el amor de Dios. You know, this is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. They bought those homes. These people, these owners of the world, I told you who they are. I told you who they are. These people, they're in business in cahoots, you know, with the J.P. Morgans, with the Rockefellers, with the Vanguards. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, State Street, ladies and gentlemen, you know, Blackstone, BlackRock, you know, the Rothschilds. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. They bought those houses under. Listen to me so you can learn. They bought those houses under 30% under. Papi, who gets a 30%? Papi, it's money all day, every day. They're making money as soon as they pay the $300,000 for those 50,000 houses. They were already making money from one hand to the other. You understand me? You guys, do you guys understand what I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen? This is the only channel that brings you the truth. And then these Michiganders are telling you that the watch market is up and running, ladies and gentlemen. The watch market is dead in a backyard pool and floating face down like this. Like this, ladies and gentlemen. It's that, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's that, ladies and gentlemen. Papi, te quitan las medias sin quitarte los zapatos. They'll take off your socks off without taking off your shoes. This is how good these people are. These demons, you know, with the Bilderbergers, you know, Bohemian Grove saluting the owl while you guys get the short end of the stick, ladies and gentlemen. This is unbelievable. You know what I'm trying to tell you, Doc Maker, Florida. This is unbelievable what's happening in the secondary gray watch market. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Please, hold on for a second. My grandchildren are acting wild. You know, lock the door, please. I'm talking. These grandchildren of mine are unbelievable. You know, they're unbelievable. So I'm telling you what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. You know what it is. They buy each home at 30% off. 30% off. Above asking price, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta talk to you like this, ladies and gentlemen. I will, Alex. Thank you very much, Papa. And again, I want to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. All kidding aside. Coming out of character to tell you that. But anyway, they're buying these houses, these demons. These are demons. These are infections in the corner of your nail with yellow-green pus. You know, yellow-green pus, ladies and gentlemen. Buying the houses above 30% asking price, papi. These people don't lose. They throw the dices, boom, you know, 7-up. They throw the dices, boom, 7-up, ladies and gentlemen. This is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm telling you. If you're smart, you should listen to what I'm saying. You know what it is. You know, it's unbelievable. It's cash, you know, it's cash. Big money, Bobby. Big money always wins. Big money. You should see his face, that guy, Frank Larry, the way he comes out smiling, it's a thing that I see, and honestly, I gotta tell you, it's demonic. It's demonic. It is demonic. If you don't know what demonic is, and I'm gonna say this quickly, allegedly, I'm saluting them, so they won't throw a thunder lightning on my TV antenna. Money talks, papi. Cash is king. Cash is king. I told you already, when you want to buy a watch, like right now, I'm going to give you a watch market update right now, quickly. The Rolex stainless steel land dweller with the chicken coop white dial, chicken coop white dial, 36 millimeter watch. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Don't pay for that watch. And I'm telling you, it's dropping on a daily basis, ladies and gentlemen. It's dropping on a daily basis. Don't pay more and dropping. Don't pay more than $20,000 and dropping. I'm telling you what it is, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to let Larry Fink get you. I'm going to tell you his story. He is a demonic. Es una cucaracha. Es una gonorrea. You know what a gonorrea is? You Google it, because I'm not going to tell you. That's right. I already said it. $20,000. Don't pay more than that. Don't pay more than that. Don't pay more than $20,000 for that, Rolex land dweller stainless steel with a white chicken coop dial. It's unbelievable. Turkey, they put the turkey in the mesh. You know what I'm saying? The turkey it's unbelievable. I'm telling you what it is, And then, ladies and gentlemen, this is the sad part of going back to what these people in BlackRock did, ladies and gentlemen. They bought those houses from those people that they were upside down, losing the houses. Listen to this. Listen to this so you understand how bad and how evil these people are, because all of you have houses out there, and these people are evil. Son el diablo, son Satanás. You understand me? Son Satanás. You know what Satanás is? You Google it, because I'm not going to tell you. But ladies and gentlemen, they bought those houses from those same people. Ladies and gentlemen, they got the house, and those people were probably paying, the rent. I don't know, the mortgage or something. But ladies and gentlemen, those same people are renting the house they lost. You ready for this? Does anybody know what I'm gonna say? That those same people from BlackRock, with that guy, Frank, Frank, whatever you call him, Frank Larry, you know how much they're renting those same houses they took away from those poor souls? Do you know how much? Do you know how much, ladies and gentlemen? They're renting those houses, renting $3,000 a month. Papi, it's a rounded business. Es redondo. And me and you are not in that business. $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. They take their houses away and then they rent them back to them for 2 times the price. This is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta be smart, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta start the year 2026 in the right directions, because real crazy things are about to really happen. That's gonna knock your socks off and blow your hair back. I'm telling you what's going on. You gotta be careful. Or you wanna soar with the eagles, or you wanna continue crawling with the rats. This reverse is what it is, Papi. They're getting them all like that. They're putting them all in line. They're putting them in line, giving it to them, ladies and gentlemen. This is awful what they're doing to them, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you the truth. This is legally stealing their houses. One more time. This is legally stealing these people's houses, ladies and gentlemen. From those people over there, if you go over there, if you go to there, Cape Coral. You know what Cape Coral is, ladies and gentlemen? Cape Coral, Sanibel, Marco Island, the West Coast, Sarasota. They're taking the houses away from those people like it's a joke. They were paying $2,000, $2,500 of mortgage, and now they're paying $4,000 to rent a house. This is crazy, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, these are, unbelievable, humble families, humble families with 2 little children, They take him to school through the morning in their van. And when they woke up the next day, the van was missing too. The van was repossessed. These people son el diablo. No tienen perdón para nadie, They don't have no pity for nobody, ladies and gentlemen. Only me and sweet Kid Kino have pity. Even though Kino right now is in a situation with that freeloader that he's hanging out, that gold digger is taking him for every penny. But don't tell him that I've been telling you this because he'll get mad, all right? But ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know about that. I'm very, very upset at what's happening, with these people, with losing these, these houses. It's unlimited, unlimited corporate cash, unlimited corporate cash. You know what that is? You know what that is? I'm telling you what it is, ladies and gentlemen. The doors have been opened back in this channel again. I'm getting views, because I had to say the truth. I was on lockdown, ladies and gentlemen, and I didn't do nothing to them to deserve to get in lockdown. And neither those people that lost the 50,000 houses at $300,000 at 30% under asking prices, they didn't do nothing bad. And that's what happens when you're a good person. You get this. You get it all day, every day, ladies and gentlemen. Give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, They're not like us. They're not like us. They're not like us, ladies and gentlemen. They're not like us. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you guys want to go back to eating your chicken leg, your Thanksgiving chicken, Thanksgiving, turkey leg. You know what I'm trying to say. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a watch market update, so you can continue skip hopping around through life like bunny rabbits, because this is the only channel that tells you the truth. You should all of you have some empathy, and do a little praying when you're eating today your turkey chicken leg. Pray for those people that they took their houses, 50,000 houses by no other than Larry Fink and BlackRock, BlackRock, and they bought those houses 30% under asking price. Estos son una gonorrea, Dios mío, una gonorrea, ladies and gentlemen. This is terrible what's going on, It's a sad thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very, very sad day, ladies and gentlemen, for those people that lost their houses. And I'm telling you that Larry Fink, if you see him, Larry Fink, I'm telling you, these things come out of his head. Like that. They come out of his head. He's wicked. He's demonic, He's wicked and demonic. And he's finishing all those people. But anyway, let me give you a watch market update. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is a Tudor Tiffany Dow, Chrono, Black Bay. The Tudor Black Bay Chrono. They call it the Flamingo. They call this the Flamingo, Unbelievable looking watch, ladies and gentlemen, The reference number is 79360N. And I'm going to tell you, because I'm stupid like that, don't pay for that watch. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want with those Miss Piggy, the Flamingo, the pink one, the blue dial, Tudor, ladies and gentlemen. Don't pay for that watch, no matter what these flim-flammers tell you, ladies and gentlemen. People are losing their cars by repossession. People are losing their houses, strong arm robbery. Give me your house. Get out of here. We need your house. We need to feed those demons, and we need your houses. Don't pay for that Tudor, Flamingo. Don't pay more than $8,500. And it's for you. It's for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's for you. Tomorrow is Black Friday. Tomorrow they're going to try to get you. And this is exactly why I'm doing this live stream, so they won't get you tomorrow. These people want to get you tomorrow on Black Friday. You say no to them. You say no to them, and you will break the rhythm. You will break the rhythm. You will break it, deep. You will break it deep. You say no. Tomorrow is not a day to buy anything. No watches. Tomorrow is not a day for you to buy a watch, because you're going to get this deep, those people are like, those guys are like Larry Fink, from BlackRock, I'm telling you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an AP Royal Oak, yellow gold, 41 millimeter. Listen to this. AP Royal Oak, yellow gold, 41 millimeter. 41 with a green dial. Crayon green dial, ladies and gentlemen. 41 millimeter. Reference number 26331BA. BA 26338. 26331BA. Hey, what's up, champ? Come on, I got my grandchild here. Quédate ahí, no puedes, no. Quédate aquí. Thank you, papi. Oh, yeah. He wants me to open for him a little Sprite, so please excuse me. Thank you, Gordo. Thank you. Lock the door. Thank you. The reference number of that watch is the 26331BA, you know? This watch at one moment in the secondary gray watch market was over $700,000 in the Corona beer era. And ladies and gentlemen, went down to 300, 250, you know, 245. And right now they're asking you 185. But I'm going to tell you the truth because I am the real person to tell you the truth. Don't pay for that beautiful chronograph, crayon green, you know, yellow gold, 26331BA. Don't pay for that watch, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean, don't pay for that watch more than $162,000 and nothing. Okay, you do whatever you want. You do whatever you want, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is the Vacheron Constantin Overseas 41 millimeter stainless steel with a beautiful blue dial. They call this the dual time. They call this the dual time, ladies and gentlemen. The 7900 dual time. Don't pay for that watch more than $23,500 and dropping faster than Bill Clinton's pants in an Arkansas farmhouse. You do whatever you want. It's your money. You do whatever you want. But the watch market is dead, ladies and gentlemen. The watch market is dead. I'm here to tell you the truth and nothing but the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Our next watch is an AP. AP, you know, AP, ladies and gentlemen. They call this the Cold 1159. 41 millimeter. Reference number 26393. N as in no and B as in boy. Stainless steel. Chrono. The hottest dial. It's a hot dial, ladies and gentlemen. They call it the smoke dial. Smoke dial, you know. It's an unbelievable Co 1159, ladies and gentlemen. A Co 1159, 41 millimeter. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. The chrono, you know, beautiful, beautiful dial. Beautiful dial. Don't pay for that watch more than $23,500 and dropping. You do whatever you want. It's your money, ladies and gentlemen. It's your money. You do whatever you want. Our next watch is the Vacheron Constantin Overseas. 41 millimeter, ladies and gentlemen. 41 millimeter. Blue dial. Blue dial. This watch is unbelievable. It's a chronograph. 5500V. 5500V. 42.5 millimeter casing. Ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that watch. It's a beautiful watch. La situación está jodida. No sean pendejos. No sean gilipollas. No sean mamones. No sean mamones. La situación está jodida. The situation is bad. That's what I said in Spanish, ladies and gentlemen. And don't pay for that beautiful watch. Chrono with the best beautiful blue dial in the game. This is an unbelievable watch. This is a blue dial, not a white dial, not a black dial. You know, it's an unbelievable blue, the most beautiful blue dial in the watch industry. The Overseas, ladies and gentlemen, 5500V, 42.5. Don't pay more than $23,000 and, you know, dropping. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. It's your money. You do whatever you want. Our next watch, ladies and gentlemen, is a Vacheron Constantin Overseas, stainless steel with a blue dial, the 4500V. The 4500V with a date, you know, with a date. Blue dial, the most beautiful blue dial in the watch business. Stainless steel, unbelievable. What a time machine, ladies and gentlemen. The 4500V. And I'm going to have to tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. Don't pay for that watch more than $19,000 in dropping, all right? Don't pay more than $19,000 in dropping. You do whatever you want. It's your money. You spend it as you please. If you want to continue maintaining these flim-flammers and hoodwinks lifestyle, that's up to you. That's up to you. If you want to continue maintaining their steak dinner, their sushi dinner, their Montclair sweaters, Supreme hoodies, Supreme backpacks, Red Gold fast car, power boats, speed boats, motorcycle, that's up to you. You can continue being lambones. But I'm here telling you the truth. The secondary gray watch market is dead in a backyard pool and floating face down like this. Okay? It's dead. I know what I'm telling you. That's all. I know what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is a Rolex white gold. White gold, 41 millimeter. 41, exactly. Hair implants and all that stuff. You know what I'm trying to say, Alex. Yeah, these people unbelievable. You know, Deputy Boxing Black Eyes with his sidekick Jiminy Cricket with the Chia Pet spray can hair with the baseball cap hair. You know, baseball cap hair, ladies and gentlemen. What is life coming to? A baseball cap hair, you know? Unbelievable. Chia pet, It's unbelievable, these people, That guy, Jiminy Cricket, he has an inferior complex, an inferior. He's bald head, he got big Jiminy Cricket ears. He's unbelievable, And he went over there, he put those hair plugs, hair extensions, I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know what to tell you, even that one too, the two toddler body brothers. The two toddler body brothers also has a little hair cap too, It's complex, He's like 5 feet 2 inches, It's unbelievable. A couple of inches, Está jodida la situación, está jodida, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give you the Rolex White Gold 41 millimeter day 218-239, 41 millimeter. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a 41 millimeter white gold with a black diamond dial. Beautiful watch, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful watch, ladies and gentlemen. And I got to tell you the truth because I'm stupid like that. Don't forget, this is the 41 millimeter with the sandwich. It's like a sandwich, like a sandwich, like a double cheese sandwich, Unbelievable, those guys, And ladies and gentlemen, it's beautiful. White gold, date 218. My favorite size, the 41 millimeter. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, with a diamond dial, black dial, don't pay more than $27,000 in dropping. You do whatever you want. It's your money. You do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a Richard Mille. Richard Mille watches are dead in water. Richard Mille watches are dead in a backyard septic tank and smelly. And smelly. When I told you this Richard Mille, you're going to understand. You're going to go, wow, man, things are getting really, really wild. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, the deputy boxing black eyes or deputy butthole eyes with the Tweety Bird haircut is making a show. Is going to a show in Miami, Florida on January the 8th of 2026 until the 11th. I don't know what day it is, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to believe this. He's giving out free tickets to try to find a couple of spoof balls to keep on maintaining their lifestyle. They ain't got nobody no more in their warehouse. They got the warehouse, the My Pillow warehouse. They have a My Pillow warehouse. That used to be a My Pillow warehouse, ladies and gentlemen. And the only people that are there now is only Deputy Boxing Black Eyes, his sidekick, Jiminy Cricket with the Chia Pet spray can hair. And ladies and gentlemen, they got a gentleman there, a new guy there working. He looks exactly like Bob Marley. That's it. We didn't see there nobody. I don't know what happened to the Puerto Rican Charlie Brown. I don't know what happened to the mad scientist, but they're not around, ladies and gentlemen. Just to let you know, and they're, making these videos that they saw a Patek Philippe 1518 Patek for $17.9 million. No comas mierda. No comas mierda. No sancativilla, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, don't play for that white gold date 41 millimeter 218-239 black diamond dial. Don't pay more. I'm going to give it to you cheaper. Don't pay more than $26,500. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. But the Richard Mille, ladies and gentlemen, going back to the Richard Mille, the RM011 Le Mans, with a green trimming inside the dial. It's an unbelievable watch. Unbelievable. Listen to this. 150 pieces made around the world, ladies and gentlemen. I got to drink a little bit of this so I can tell you more, This is bad, man, but this tastes unbelievable. I don't know what those guys put in Coca-Cola, man, but it's addicting. So be careful. Be careful. I'm just telling you what it is. Be careful. Ladies and gentlemen, the Richard Mille RM011 Le Mans green trim dial. 150 pieces around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a $500,000 time machine. $500,000. Papi, you're not going to believe this, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm trying to say, Alex. Are you ready for this? 150 pieces. In the Corona beer era, $500,000. 500. I'm telling you what it is. Look at that, what Alex is saying. How much you saying, Alex? I can't even see what he's saying. Alex is saying there. This Alex is unbelievable. But ladies and gentlemen, I got bad news for all those Richard Mille fans out there. Don't pay for that watch more than $129,000. I'm not going to give it a drop because it's a catastrophe what's happening with Richard Mill. Richard Mill, the party is over, ladies and gentlemen. Hay que trabajar. You got to work hard now, papi. It ain't no more freebies here, all right? And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a Rolex Oyster Flex Daytona, yellow gold with a Tiffany dial. Ladies and gentlemen. Tiffany dial. 126518LN. Ladies and gentlemen, at one moment when it came out some months ago, they were asking $195,000. 100, it. Turn off the lights, the party is over. Like Teddy Pendergrass said, turn off the lights. You know what I'm saying? You know who Teddy Pendergrass is? If you don't know who he is, you Google it. He's the original turn off the lights, Ladies and gentlemen, esto está jodido, papi. There's no more SBA loans. There's no more PPP loans. I'm trying to tell you this, papi. They have opened the doors on our channel again. They have opened the doors. They can't hold me back no more. They can't. They spoke to the CFO, CEO. They talked to upper management. They said, you have to open the door to those people. Those kids are unbelievable. They're helping out these Michiganers. They're helping out these Palomos, Lambones, They're helping them out. You tell them, Alex. Tell them like it is. You know what I'm saying, Alex. You know what I'm saying. And ladies and gentlemen, they have opened. You're not going to believe this. We're getting subscribers, organic subscribers in our channel again, ladies and gentlemen. Por el amor de Dios. I got to get rid of it. I got to go eat the chicken leg now, the turkey chicken leg. I got to go eat that. And I got to cut. I got to cut it. I'm going to make it like a little speech. They want to make a speech. I want to make them a speech, I'm pretty good at that, making speeches, ladies and gentlemen. The watches are cheap in the UK. The watches are cheap. You got that guy over there. You know who you got over there. You got all these people. There's a lot of characters over there, and that side of the that side of the pond. And so we also have some characters here too, we have the Warriors Fat Bastard, we have the Hungry Hippo, Mr. Magoo. We have the two Toddler Body Brothers. We have the Indian Brothers, like 7 of them with tape haircuts and initials and logos. You know what I'm saying? We got the 2 Jehovah Witness brothers. You got Big Pun and Heavy D. There's a lot of people out there, ladies and gentlemen. You got the deputy Butthole Eyes with the Tweety Bird haircut and his sidekick Jiminy Cricket with the Chia Pet spray can hair and the baseball cap hair. Baseball cap hair. It's unbelievable, these people, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. And I keep on bringing you the truth and nothing but the truth, ladies and gentlemen. And these people are charging you guys membership, like the guy over there, from over there, from Italy, you know what I'm talking about? Flat top monkey eyebrows, the fake Italian over there, flat top monkey eyebrows, It's unbelievable, getting membership at $19.99 per person, ladies and gentlemen. $19.99. You have Eugene. You know who Eugene is? Eugene, a.k.a. Jacob McChicken, charging $7.99. You understand me? And what do we get? What kind of perks do we get? We get this. This is what we get. But ladies and gentlemen, when we're not here no more, you're going to miss us. You're going to miss us. There's nobody like us. I'm telling you. You're getting today a freebie. You're getting a freebie today because I feel special today. I feel like I'm in the festive giving, giving. You know what I'm trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say, Doc Maker, Florida. You know Eugene. Don't forget Eugene, a.k.a. Jacob McChicken. The SEC is looking for him. You repeat that again. Google it. Google it. I'm in the free festive of giving today, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that Rolex Tiffany dial. Tiffany dial, blue Tiffany dial, Oyster Flex, Daytona 40 millimeter, reference number 126518LN. Don't pay more. You do whatever you want. You can continue being lollipop suckers. You can continue being obedient, lambones. You don't pay for that watch more than $85,500. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to wish all of you from the bottom of my heart a happy, happy Thanksgiving. I wish all of you a beautiful evening, afternoon, wherever you should be at with your loved ones. Look at them very well, give them lots of love. You know, some of them need more love than others, so pick and choose to the ones you want to give a little bit of extra love. You know, today's a very, very sentimental day for me. I mean, at least for me, it's a very sentimental day for me, you know, and I'm being honest from from the bottom of my heart. Give love to the ones that you believe need a little bit of more love, right? You know, in behalf of me and Sweet Kid Kino, even though Sweet Kid Kino's not here with me today, again, I want to tell you, all of you, happy Thanksgiving. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. And I already told you, the channel has been opened up again. I don't know, from up there, from headquarters, they said open the channel. Let the people see it, you know? Let the people see it. So it's happening. And it's all because of you guys giving us a thumbs up, you know, and all that good stuff. Again, thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving. And like we say always, take care and brush your hair. Good day.